Okay, so magandang araw po sa ating lahat and welcome po ulit sa ating channel. Okay, so our topic for today is based on the most essential learning competency, which is in fear, how friction and gravity affect movements of different objects. Okay, so before we start with our new lesson for today, so let us first have a short review of our previous lesson or last lesson, which all about force and the types of forces. Okay, so let's start. So what do you think is the force shown in this picture? Okay, so if your answer is air resistance, then you are correct. Okay. So next picture. So what do you think is the force shown in the picture? Okay, so very good. So the answer is friction. Okay, next. How about this one? Okay, so spring or elastic force. Okay. Number 4. So what is the force? Okay, so it's normal force. This one. Okay, so applied force. And last one. So what do you think is the force? Okay, gravity. Okay, so that's all for our review. Okay, so let's play 4 pigs, 1 word. So what do you think is the answer? What force is shown by the 4 pictures? Okay, so if your answer is friction, then you are correct. Okay, so today we're going to study about friction. So what is friction? Ano nga ba ang tinatawag nating friction? Although napag-usapan na natin ito sa aking last video na nakapost ngayon sa aking channel. So, ngayon pag-aaralan pa natin kung ano ba talaga si friction. So, when we say friction, so friction is a force that opposes motion between two surfaces touching each other. So, when you say opposes, it resists or hinahadlangan niya or pinipigilan niya ang motion or paggalaw ng mga bagay na magkadikit. So for example, so yung cabinet sa inyong floor. So may friction yun between the floor and the cabinet. Okay. So friction is a force between two surfaces that are sliding or trying to slide across one another. So for example, when you try to push a toy car along the floor, so may friction yun between dun sa gulong at saka sa floor. Okay, friction always works in a direction opposite from the direction the object is moving. So kung for example, ang motion ng object is going to the right, so si friction is going to the left. Okay, so kaya nga sabi diyan, opposite from the direction the object is moving or trying to move. It always slows a moving object down. So that is the reason why pag nagpagulong kayo ng bola, then maya-maya makikita nyo dahan-dahan na uh, uh, nag-iiba yung motion or yung bilis or speed ng bola. Okay? So, and eventually, after a few minutes, makikita nyo na lang na natigil na yung bola sa paggalaw. So, ang reason nun is because of the friction. So, between the ball and the floor. Okay? Okay, so ganyan. So, makikita natin dito sa illustration na kung papunta dito ang motion, so makikita natin ang motion is going to the right, so ang friction is going to the left or vice versa. So kung papunta naman sa left ang motion, ang friction is going to the right. So kaya nga ang sabi natin, it opposes or resists motion. Okay, so to understand more about friction as opposing force, so let us perform this activity. Okay, so our activity is about friction, the opposing force. So the objective of this activity is to be able to understand the concept of friction as an opposing force. So our materials are marble, clear pavement or pathway or your floor, pwede na yon. Okay, so let us proceed to the procedures. So procedures, number 1, let the marble roll on a pavement or a clear pathway. Then number 2, observe what happens to the marble as it rolls along the pavement. And after performing the activity or all the procedures in the activity, so you are going to answer the 5 guide questions. Okay? So let us watch this video on how to perform the said activity. Okay? So now let us answer the guide questions. So number 1, when you roll the marble on the pavement, did you exert a force? So nung pinagulong nyo ba ang marble dun sa floor, nag-exert ba kayo ng force? Gumamit ba kayo ng force? Yes or no? Okay, number 2, so what kind of force did you exert? So, ano bang ginamit yung force? Contact ba or non-contact force? Number 3, while the marble is rolling along the pavement, are you still exerting a force? So, habang umiikot yung marble sa floor or sa pavement, nag-exert pa rin ba kayo? Nag-apply pa rin ba kayo ng force? And number 4, so what happened to the marble's motion after some time? So anong napansin nyo doon sa motion or sa galaw ng marble habang siya ay umiikot or gumugulong? And number 5, why do you think the marble stopped rolling? Okay, di ba nakita natin dun sa video, nakita natin na tumigil yung marble sa paggulong. So ano kaya ang dahilan bakit siya nag-stop? Okay? So kayo na ang sasagot niyan, ha? Okay, para man at least so pag binigay ko na kasi lahat, so hindi na kayo mag-iisip. So gusto ko mag-isip din naman kayo kahit konti. Okay? So yun lang ang activity natin. So para maintindihan natin na ang friction pala kung paano naging opposing force ang tinatawag nating friction. Okay? So let us proceed to the types of friction. Okay, so there are 4 types of frictions, namely 1, the static friction, 2, the sliding friction, 3, rolling friction, 4, fluid friction. Okay, so isa-isahin natin yan. Kung ano yung tinatawag nating mga static friction, sliding, rolling, and fluid friction. Okay, let us first study static friction. So the friction that acts on the objects that are not moving is called static friction. So remember the words not moving. Okay. So for example, so nakikita natin itong mga objects na to. Okay, so they are not in motion. Okay, so yung statwa, yung bola, at yung cabinet sa floor, yung chair sa floor, yung mga gamit na nakapatong sa cabinet, so they are not in motion, they are not moving. But still, meron pa rin silang friction. So ang tawag doon ay tinatawag nating static friction. Basta mga bagay na magkadikit at hindi gumagalaw, ang tawag doon ay static friction. Okay. So diyan sa inyong bahay, tingnan ang paligid kung saan diyan ang may mga static friction. So napakarami diyang objects na mayroong tinatawag na static friction. Basta tandaan natin that static friction ay yung friction na makikita sa mga object na magkadikit na hindi gumagalaw. Okay, next. Sliding friction. Okay, sliding friction occurs when two solid surfaces slide over each other. So from the word sliding, so slide. So alam naman natin kung ano ibig sabihin ng slide, di ba? Okay, so ito yung mga examples ng sliding friction. Okay, so yung pag naglalaro kayo sa ice, so mayroon niyang tinatawag na sliding friction. So pag naglalaro kayo sa mga playground, sa mga slides, for example, so meron din yung sliding friction between doon sa inyong, for example, shorts or pants. So meron yung friction between the slide at saka yung inyong damit. Okay? Next, we have the rolling friction. So when an object rolls across a surface, rolling friction occurs. Okay. So from the word rolling, rolling. Okay. So madali lang tandaan. Say rolling friction sa mga bagay na gumugulong sa isang surface ay mayroong tinatawag na rolling frictions. Halimbawa, yan. So, yung mga pictures natin nagpapakita ng tinatawag nating rolling frictions. Okay. So rolling friction daw is easier to overcome than sliding friction for similar material. So for example, may dalawa kayong cabinet. So sa tingin nyo kaya saan dyan ang mas madaling ilipat? So for example, if you want to transfer the cabinets in the sa kabilang room, so saan dyan kaya ang mas madaling ilipat? Of course, yung mayroong gulong. Okay. So, kaysa naman slide mo, so medyo mahirap. Madali din naman siya pag slide natin, pero mas madali. Mas madali pag mayroong gulong. Okay. So, mas madaling i-overcome ang rolling friction compared sa sliding friction. Kaya, pag bumibili kayo ng cabinet, mas piliin nyo yung may gulong para madaling i-transfer. Yan. So, kagaya ng mga pictures na yan. So, during the ancient times, sa mga Egyptians, so, nung gumagawa sila ng pyramids, so, ang mga bato na gamit nila ay tonelada ang bigat. So, mahirap yun pag sliding friction lang ang gamit or slide lang nila sa lupa yung mga bato. So, naisip nilang gumamit ng mga logs or yung mga kahoy na so of course, ang lag naman ay pabilog, so ginawa nila yung parang gulong. Okay, so para mabilis nilang madala sa pyramids ang mga bato. Okay, and last one is the fluid friction. So the fluids such as water, oil, or air are materials that flow easily. So basta pag sinabi nating fluids, hindi lang siya water. So kasama ang air. So fluid friction occurs when a solid object moves through a fluid. Like rolling friction, fluid friction is easier to overcome than sliding friction. Okay, so halimbawa yan. So for example, airplane. Okay, so yung mga nagpa-paragliding or mga nagsiswimming. So yun ang mga tinatawag natin na merong tinatawag na fluid friction. Okay, so factors affecting frictions. So alamin natin kung ano ba yung mga factors affecting frictions. Okay, so to understand what are the factors affecting friction, so let us have another activity. Okay, so this is a simple activity lang naman. So our activity or the title of the activity is factors affecting friction. So the objective of this activity is to be able to determine how the kind of surface and the weight of an object affect friction. So materials, plastic bag, for books, smooth floor, and rough floor. So procedures. So remember we have two activities. Okay, so for activity A, so friction and weight. Okay, so number one, so place two books inside a plastic bag. So drag or pull the plastic bag containing two books along a smooth floor. Observe how you drag the plastic bag. So pag nailagay na natin yung dalawang libro sa loob ng plastic bag, i-drag natin sa floor or hilain natin sa floor yung plastic bag na mayroong dalawang libro. And then observe natin kung medyo mahirap ba ang pag-drag or medyo madali lang ang pag-drag or ang pag-pull. Next, after that, so number 3, place 4 books inside the plastic bag. So ngayon naman, 4 naman na books ang ilalagay natin sa plastic bag. So after that, drag the plastic bag containing 4 books along the smooth floor. Then observe how you drag the plastic bag. So i-observe nyo ulit, meron bang pagkakaiba yung pag-drag ninyo dun sa 4 na libro kaysa doon sa 2 libro lang? Okay, meron bang pagkakaiba? Okay. Then after that, so let us perform activity B. So friction and the kind of surface. So procedure number 1, place 2 books inside a plastic bag. Drag the plastic bag containing 2 books along a smooth floor. Observe how you drag the plastic bag. Then after that, perform procedure number 3. Drag the plastic bag containing 2 books along a rough floor. So ngayon naman ay dun sa rough floor. So maghanap kayo ng lugar diyan sa bahay ninyo na ang floor ay medyo magaspang. So observe how you drag the plastic bag. So ngayon, observe niyo ulit, meron bang pagkakaiba doon sa pag-drag ninyo ng dalawang books na sa loob ng plastic bag sa smooth floor at saka sa rough floor. Then after performing the activity, so you are going to answer the guide questions. Okay? Okay, so let us watch this video so that we will know how to perform the activity. Okay, so let us answer the guide questions. So number one, on which situation, plastic bag with two books or plastic bag with four books, did you experience difficulty in dragging or pulling the plastic bag? So saan ka ba medyo nahihirapan sa hila? Yung plastic bag ba na may dalawang libro or yung plastic bag na may apat na libro? Okay, number two, on which case is friction greater? Plastic bag with two books and the floor or plastic bag with four books and the floor? So sa tingin mo saan kaya doon ang mas may malakas na friction? So yung plastic bag na may dalawang libro or plastic bag na may apat na libro? And number three, on which situation, plastic bag on a smooth floor or plastic bag on a rough floor, did you experience difficulty in dragging or pulling the plastic bag? So saan ka medyo nahirapan sa paghila sa plastic bag? Doon sa smooth floor or doon sa rough floor? So number four, on which case is friction greater? Plastic bag on a smooth floor or plastic bag on a rough floor? So sa tingin mo, saan kaya dun ang greater ang friction? Sa plastic bag on a smooth floor or plastic bag on a rough floor? And number five, what do you think or what are the factors that affect friction? So sa tingin mo, ano kaya yung mga factors na nakakaapekto sa friction? So based doon sa pinerform natin na activity. So kayo na mismo ang sumagot niyan. Okay, so to understand more about the different factors that affect friction, so let us study these situations. So we have three situations here. So situation number one, smooth object, smooth surface. Situation number two, the object is rough, the surface is smooth or pwedeng baliktad. Object naman ng smooth, surface ay rough. And situation number three, object is rough, surface is rough. Okay, so let us base our answer dun sa pinerform natin na activity. So which of this situation do you think has the highest friction? Situation 1, 2, or 3? Okay, so if your answer is situation number 3, then you are correct. Okay, how about the situation with the lowest friction? So if your answer is situation 1, then you are also correct. Okay, class, so let us remember that the strength of the force of friction depends on two factors. One, how hard the surfaces push together or the weight of an object. Okay, so based dun kanina sa activity na pinerform natin, so saan ba kayo mas medyo nahirapan sa paghila? Dun sa dalawang libro, sa plastic bag na may dalawang libro or sa plastic bag na may apat na libro? Okay, so alam ko na yung sagot niyo doon sa bag or sa plastic bag na may apat na libro. Okay, kasi one of the factor that affects friction is the weight of an object or how hard the surfaces push together. Okay, so halimbawa, yung cabinet, dalawang cabinet, yung isa maraming laman, yung isa konti lang ang laman, tapos ililipat niyo ng pareho. So, saan kaya kayo mas mahihirapang itulak yung or ilipat yung cabinet, yung dalawang cabinet. Of course, yung isang mas marami ang laman. Okay. So another factor is the types of surfaces involved. Okay. Doon naman kanina, saan kayo medyo nahirapan hilain ang plastic bag? Sa smooth floor or sa rough floor? Okay. So kung ang sagot ninyo ay sa rough floor, so you are correct. Okay. So tandaan natin, so weight of an object and the type of surface or surfaces are the two factors that affect friction. So in general, smooth surfaces produce less friction than rough surfaces. So tandaan natin, smoother surface, less friction, faster movement. Rougher surface, more friction, slower movement. So, tandaan ha, pag smooth ang surface, less ang friction, mabilis ang movement. Pag rough ang surface, maraming friction, mas mabagal ang movement. Okay, so isa pang dapat natin tandaan that friction also increases if surfaces push hard against each other. So for example, if you rub your hands together forcefully, there is more friction kasi 'di ba mas maramdaman natin na mas mainit than if you rub your hands together lightly. Okay. Okay, tandaan natin that friction also produces heat. So for example, if you rub your hands together quickly, they get warmer. So 'di ba pag malamig 'yun ang ginagawa natin, tapos ginaganon-ganon natin sa mukha natin. Okay, or kung wala kang posporo at nagka-camping kayo, so tinuturo 'yan kung paano gumawa ng apoy. Okay, sa pamamagitan din 'yun ng friction kasi yung maliit na kahoy, yung isang kahoy, so kumikiskis doon sa isang kahoy. So, because of friction, so umiinit, nagkakaroon ng apoy. Okay, so the amount of friction depends on the materials from which the two surfaces are made. The rougher the surface, the more friction is produced. So, ganun nga ang sabi ko kanina. So, mas magaspang ang isang surface, mas maraming friction. Okay, for example, you would have to push a book harder to get it moving on a rough floor than you would on a smooth floor. So kagaya kanina doon sa ating ginawang activity. So mas medyo nahirapan tayong hilain ang libro yung sa rough floor. So this is because there is more friction between the rough floor and the book than there is between the smooth floor and the book. So yun ang tandaan natin ha. Rougher surface, more friction. Smoother surface, less friction. So pag less ang friction, fast ang movement. Pag, pag more ang friction, slow ang movement. Okay, friction acts in a direction opposite to the direction of the object's motion. Kaya nga siya ay opposing force. Without friction, a moving object might not stop until it strikes another object. So kung walang friction, so yung moving object, tuloy-tuloy lang yan sa paggalaw, maliban na lang kung siya ay babangga sa isang bagay. So, importance of friction. So, ano ba ang kahalagahan ng friction? Mahalaga ba ang friction? Okay, friction is useful force because it keeps our shoes from slipping on a pavement while we walk and prevent car tires from skidding on the road. Okay, so kung walang friction, anong mangyayari? So dudulas-dulas tayo. Ganon din yung mga sasakyan. Okay, so 'di ba pag bumili tayo ng bagong sapatos, makikita natin na ang spike ng ating ang daming mga spike ng sapatos at saka yung mga bagong gulong. Okay, kasi sila, so pag mas rough, so mas malakas ang friction. So mapapansin niyo 'yan pag luma na ang tsinelas at sapatos ninyo, pag kayo naglalakad madulas. Okay. Because ice has little friction, it is easy to slip and fall on an icy day. Oh, sa mga bansang mayroong mga snow or nagsusnow. So, pag maraming snow sa kalsada or sa daanan, mahirap maglakad or nahihirapan ng mga sasakyan. Kasi nga, makinis ang yelo, so less ang friction nun. So, pag less ang friction, sabi nga natin, fast ang movement. So, pag naglalakad ka sa yelo at hindi maganda ang iyong sapatos, so hindi maayos ang ilalim ng sapatos mo, so madali kang madulas or matumba. Okay. So, ganoon din ang mga sasakyan. But however, so this is beneficial naman for ice skating and sledding. Okay. So, maganda naman ito. Hindi naman, minsan kasi maganda din ang less ang friction, minsan maganda naman pag more ang friction. So, sa mga nag-ice skating or naglalaro sa yelo, so mas gusto nila ang less ang friction kasi nakakagalaw sila ng maayos. So, tandaan natin na minsan maganda din ang less ang friction, minsan naman maganda din pag more ang friction. Depende sa situation. So, for example, sa sasakyan natin, so naglalagay tayo ng oil sa sasakyan natin kasi para hindi madaling masira yung mga bakal dun sa loob. Okay, so kasi nagkakaroon ng less friction doon. Kasi pag walang oil yun doon, so yung mga bakal doon magkikiskisan, so madaling masira. Okay, so kaya ganon. Minsan maganda din ang less ang friction, minsan maganda din pag more ang friction. So depende sa sitwasyon. So, I hope na mayroon natutunan sa lesson natin ngayon. So, sana nakatulong si Sir kahit konti para may matutunan kayo sa araw na ito sa ating subject na science. So, tingnan natin kung may natutunan nga. So, let's have a short quiz. So, kumuha ng papel at ballpen. So you are going to choose the letter of the correct answer. So just write the letter of the correct answer on your answer sheet or on your paper. So you will be given 20 seconds for each question. Okay? So question number 1. Okay, so time is up. Question number 2. Okay, time is up. Question number 3. Okay, question number 4. Okay, so time is up. So question number 5. Okay, time is up. Okay, so let us check your answer. Check, check, check. So thank you for watching. So please support Sir Chris. Okay, so hanggang dyan lang muna tayo. So huwag kalimutan mag-subscribe sa aking channel. Okay, salamat. Bye-bye.